أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This is Dr. Zulfa. Today, inshallah, we'll discuss a new part of or a new section of phonetics. Today, inshallah, we'll discuss a new part of phonetics or sound study. Okay. We will study the place and the manner of articulation. First, we'll start with place of articulation. What is place of articulation? Place of articulation, or the abbreviation POA. Now, place of articulation or point of articulation of a consonant. Here we are talking about consonant, places of articulation of consonants. Okay, is the point of contact where an obstruction or narrowing or closing the air occurs in the vocal tract between the articulatory gestures. Now, you see, we say consonants are produced, all consonants are produced by obstructing or closing or stopping the air in the vocal tract, somewhere in the vocal tract. Either you close your lips to produce certain sounds like B and B, either you put your mouth against the ridge to produce some sounds like T and D. So we will discuss the places, but however, I want to say that it's a matter of obstruction of the air. When you want to produce a consonant, you obstruct or you close or you stop the air somewhere in the vocal tract between the articulatory gestures. What are the articulatory gestures? An active articulator is typically the tongue, the tongue against another part. The active articulator is the tongue, is pressed or approximate a passive location or a passive articulator, which is the roof of the mouth. Okay. So now, and the manner of articulation, what do you mean by manner of articulation? Manner of articulation refers to how the air stream from the lungs is directed to the mouth or modified by various structures to produce a consonant phoneme. Now, what does that mean? You see here 6 types of manner of articulation. The first one is plosive. What do you mean by plosive? You stop the air somewhere, you stop it, absolutely stop it, and then you release it suddenly, like the sounds b, p. First you say b, then you open your lips, then the air is sent out. It, t, it, t. You release the air. So these are the plosives. Nasals are sounds which produced through the nose. For example, the lips are closed, but the air comes out of the Okay, it is the Arabic sound غنة. Okay, and ing also is a nasal sound in which air passes through the nose. Fricatives are produced by the release or the friction-like noise created by the air stream escaped through a variant narrowing gaps or narrow gaps in the mouth, such as if you see the upper tips, the upper teeth and the lower lip if are close together, but still the air comes out from other gaps or sides of the mouth. So if okay, the articulators are near or touching each other, but the air passes out. So these are fricatives. Lateral approximant produced by the obstruction of the air stream at a point along the center of the oral tract. Now, with incomplete closure between one or both sides of the tongue and the roof of the tongue, between both sides of the tongue and the roof of the tongue, like the sound L. It's the only lateral approximant, which is L. You find the air passes through the sides of the tongue. Okay. Approximant produced, not lateral approximant, but approximant produced by proximity, closeness, or being near of two articulators without turbulence, without hard movement and the friction like noise, without friction. Approximate, like the sounds like wa, yeah. Now look, when you talk about the about the sound wa, you find the back part of the tongue is raised towards the velar, but not absolutely close to it. There is a space where air passes. Okay. Affricates is a combination, is produced when a combination of two sounds happen, produced by involving more than one of those manners of articulation. Firstly, produce the sound in the alveolar ridge. Okay. Then, first in the alveolar ridge, like T, which is alveolar, at the ridge of the teeth. Chair, j, j. T and D are alveolars. T and D are alveolars. Then sh and ij are other. You see here. You see here 2 points of production of sounds. So they produce affricate sounds. Okay. Now, let's classify the sounds according to the place of articulation. Bilabial sounds. Bilabial sounds, in bilabial consonants, the lower and the upper lips approach or touch each other, like P and B and M. They are bilabial. Look at the lips here in the figure. You see they are close to each other. Manner of articulation, they are plosives. They are plosives. Means the air is released suddenly. The diagram, as you see the diagram here, the diagram to the right shows the state of the vocal tract during producing P and B. And what about M? What about M? M, look, what's the difference between B and P and M? There is, look at the figure here. What can you see here? It is absolutely closed. The track Now here, the velum is closing the track or the passage to the mouth for producing P and B. But in producing M, the velum is lowered. It opens the passage to the nose, so we produce the M as a nasal sound. Okay. Also, another bilabial. You say bilabial here, and P and B and M, and also something like, also considered bilabial, which is W. W is a bilabial approximant. Now, M is bilabial nasal, and W is bilabial approximant. The sound W involves two constriction, narrowing of the vocal tract made simultaneously. It means at the same time. One of them is lips rounding. The other is the back of the tongue is raised towards the velar without causing friction. Air can pass between them smoothly. Now, say the sound wa and put your finger inside your mouth. You find, look at the image here. You find that the back of the tongue is raised towards the velar. Okay, but still there is very narrow space through which air can pass without causing any friction. Okay. Approximate consonant sounds are made by bringing two articulators close together without touching. Okay, as the sound, they don't touch each other. There is still a space between them. The result is a smooth vowel-like sound. It's not a vowel, but it is vowel-like sounds. Okay. Now, labiodental, lips and teeth work together to produce certain sounds. In labiodental consonants like F, upper teeth and lower lip. You see the diagram here. You see here here are the upper teeth and the lower lip, and they cause friction. If okay, so they cause friction, so they are called fricative sounds. Interdental. In dental consonant, in a dental consonant, the tip or the blade of the tongue approaches or touches the upper teeth, like if try it, and they are dental fricatives. The tongue tip can approach the back of the upper teeth or what protrude between them, enter between them. Like you try both. Either you say it's they touch the upper teeth, the back of the upper teeth, or it comes between the teeth. Okay, they are fricatives also. Alveolar. In alveolar consonants, the tongue, the tip, the tongue tip, the end of the tongue. You see here the tongue tip, or less often the tongue blade, okay, approaches or touches the alveolar ridge here. You see the alveolar ridge here, here is the ridge, and here is the alveolar ridge, immediately behind the upper teeth, like it, the, in alveolar, the alveolar ridge. They are produced at the alveolar ridge. Manner of articulation for T and D, they are alveolar stops. They are alveolar stops. N is an alveolar nasal. It's a nasal stop, sorry. It's a nasal stop because the air comes out of the nose. The fricatives. Now, fricatives S and S are also at the same place, which means they are alveolar. Alveolar. S, air is forced through the tongue and the alveolar ridge. They are alveolar. So how many sounds we do have here as alveolar? We go back. Alveolar, you have T, D, N, and again we have S and S as alveolars. Now air is forced through the tongue and alveolar ridge. Again, try. Where's your tongue? Where's your tongue? At the alveolar ridge, the tip of the tongue. Manner of articulation also fricative. So how many ones you have fricatives here? You have fricative sounds. You see T. No, sorry. You say if and the, and others, which is if, it, and is, and you have also is and is. Palatal consonant. A palatal consonant is a consonant that is pronounced with the body or the middle part of the tongue against the hard palate, which is the middle part of the roof of the mouth. We want to see what is the palatal consonant here. The palatal consonant here, the only palatal consonant in English is L. The only one palatal consonant in English is, is ya. Like yes. There is only one palatal consonant in English, which is ya, which is the sound for yes in the English word yes. Okay, the sound for ya in the English word yes. Ya is a palatal approximant. You see, approximant. Air is not absolutely or completely closed, as you see here in the picture. There is a passage between the tongue and the hard palate. You see, the body or the middle of the tongue approaches the hard palate. Here is the body or the middle of the tongue. It approaches the hard palate to create turbulence in the air. Manner of articulation in the air stream. Manner of articulation of ya is a palatal approximant. A palatal approximant. It's approximant, but where? It's palatal. It's not like the approximant wa, which is bilabial palatal. bilabial approximant, sorry. Velar. In a velar consonant, the body of the tongue approaches or touches the soft palate or velum like what? Like English K and G, G, K, G, and ing. The R stops. Ing sound is called velar nasal, which means that you curl your tongue up against the back of your mouth and the air comes out of your nose. That's why we call it inga, like the N because it's nasal, so inga. So it is what is called velar nasal. Now the K and G are velars, okay? But they are velars, but also here ing is velar nasal because the air comes out of the nose because of the sound in ng. Glottal. You know the glottis is the vocal cords. Is opening between the vocal. It's the opening between the vocal cords. The glottis is the open or the opening between the vocal cords. In ha ha. This opening is narrow enough to create some turbulence in the airstream flowing past the vocal cords. For this reason, ha is often classified as a glottal fricative. Okay? Here is the chart of how sounds are classified according to place of articulation and manner of articulation. You see here, you see in the manner, the first column, manner, stop, fricative, affricate, nasal. Nasal, you see nasal, you lateral. Okay, some words you haven't taken, but however, okay. And here, the place of articulation, bilabial, alveolar, and so on. You know, palatal, velar, glottal, interdental, labiodental. Okay, you see here the place of articulation and they are classified. You see, bilabial, P, B, M, W. W. Labiodental, F and F. Interdental, S and S. Alveolar, T, D, S, S, N, L, and R. Alveopalatal is ish, ish, and itch, idj. And velar, ikka, ugga, anga, uwa. And palatal, which is ya, ya, like yes. And glottal, like aha, ha, or like the first sign up here, like Hamza in Arabic, ah, ha, and so on. Summary of the English consonants. As you see here, they are classified also as voiced and voiceless, P, voiceless, bilabial, plosive. This is what I want you at last to learn when I ask you to describe sounds. P, voiceless, bilabial, plosive. B, voiced bilabial. Most of the sounds have have voiced and voiceless. B and B, T and D, S and is, ish and ish. Okay, if and if. So all of them have voice and voiceless. Okay, so you have to learn them. But before learning by heart, you have to understand what we have already explained. Thank you very much. For next time, you have in the class, you have to draw the chart of the sounds and to classify them as place of articulation, manner of articulation, voiced and voiceless. Okay, please do your best because it is the basic points of sound production, the basic points of phonetics. Thank you very much.